Welcome to the past, where you'll get information related to sports, video games, technology, music, and our all-time favorite ass of the week. Episode 199 of The Past is here. What is going on? What's good, everybody? I'm your host, BT. Hope everyone's doing well on this dreary but decent Monday afternoon or evening, wherever you are. If you're on Spotify, iTunes, Android, Google Podcasts, wherever you are, wherever you're listening to the show, it's definitely appreciated with humble oblige. As always, I like to, give you a little bit of information and talk about what's going on in the sports world, the tech world, a couple random stuff that's been going on, a few changes on my end. I'm kind of going to give a little bit of a teaser, and then I'll kind of go in depth with some things coming up. And of course, we have our ass of the week. So we're not going to really give a lot of fluff and BS. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it. As we do each intro or each beginning of the show, I always like to give you a number, our angel number. Before I do that, however, I want to share, and I didn't even realize that I did the title. The title is pretty long. But anyway, our next episode, which is actually 2 days away, will be the 200th episode. Now, I'm not sure if anyone has or has not listened to every single episode. I totally understand that. Listen to what you can. I'm negotiating. I've talked about this before on previous shows. You may see some of the early shows as far as the sports and stuff based information leaving. I thought about it. I've been back and forth about it, but I just want to see how the content will be beneficial. If people still want it on the show, I'll leave it. I'm not going to touch it, but just wanted to kind of bring that to light. But we are on episode 199, and like I said, 200. We will start on Wednesday, as many of you may or may not know. We do the podcast every day in August. Earlier this year, we did podcasts every day in April. So we do the August promotion just to kind of give you a little bit of kind of like quick hits here and there about things that's going on, and just kind of rock out and have some fun. So I got that in store, but nonetheless, we'll go ahead and jump into today's story. Our first part we do is the angel number, which is angel number 199 for this episode. So if you feel deep within you that you have a destiny to reach for, you will pay attention to all the ways that the divine communicates to us. For instance, if you have seen the number 199 all around you for a while now, you might want to consider it as a communications from your divine watchers. Angel number 199 wants you to understand certain truths that will help you in your journey. The birth angels believe that you have learned the lessons you needed to learn so far. They want you to know that you are ready for the next step of your life with angel number 199. The angel number 199 is made of 3 digits, 1, 9, and 9. Number 1 stands for new beginnings in certain aspects of your life. You should be ready to make adjustments in your life to accommodate the new starts that are coming your way. You have the ability to create realities of your own. Traits in you like self-reliance and your resolve to succeed that you possess will help you move forward. These traits will support your destiny. Angel number 9 is the number associated with endings in your life. For you to create the new opportunities, you need to let go of certain areas in your life. These areas are taking the space that you should fill with functions that will assist in the path of your destiny. The number 9 is repeated in the angel number 199 meaning. This is to show you that there are a lot of things in your life that you need to get rid of. You need to create a lot of space in your life and fill it with new experiences. Put yourself out there to learn more, to experience new things, and embrace new opportunities that will lead to your growth and development. Self-discovery and self-awareness in this stage is the key given by angel number 199 symbolism. You need to understand who you are, your future, and the destiny that awaits you. Pray for guidance during the process of self-discovery. Pray for the angels to reveal to you your life purpose. So this is as I always say each week, these are very close a lot of times due to the fact that there are personal transitions that I'm making. For example, I've shared this on numerous shows and numerous times. I'm doing the shows and I'm enjoying, podcasts, and I'm always going to love podcasting as a whole, but I really am making a better effort in giving the podcast its worthwhile platform or its needed attention to let others know, hey, yeah, this is a show I'm doing here locally, but if people want to join or if it's a way to expand to get into other platforms or other avenues, and so be it. And this has kind of been a way of helping me personally get out of my comfort zone. And it's caused me to bring in a lot of things and let go of a lot of things. And I'm sharing that. And I guess I've been on the fence of doing this, but I feel like it's going to help the August show. Before we do sports, I'm making this announcement publicly on my podcast. For the month of August, I'm going to deactivate. I'm in between on whether I want to deactivate Facebook or if I'm just going to likely just not have any interaction with Facebook. For me, that's just going to be on the basis of deleting the app, possibly deleting Messenger. I'm not sure, because there are a couple of people who I do use Messenger with to have conversation and talk with and update on certain things. So it could be using that avenue. Haven't really thought it out. I'll be bluntly honest. I don't post as much on Facebook as I used to. There was an update with Instagram where Instagram and Facebook were supposed to be together, but they're not together. So every time I would post something on my Instagram and I'd select to have it go to Facebook, by nature, I'm expecting it to be on Facebook, and it hasn't been, which has kind of been frustrating, but it also has kind of said, all right, if it's not on there, it's not on there. It's not a big deal. The only thing that kind of keeps my link to Facebook, to be fair, well, two things. And they're both group related, because there are two groups that I'm kind of like a moderator and I'm involved with, but I can still kind of give my support, but not be as engulfed by Facebook as I've been before. So I'm making that a social media public service announcement, whatever. And also it's kind of to add to what's coming down the pipe that I've gotten as an announcement. So I'm sharing this with you all just as general information. Any of you who use WordPress and are sharing your posts to your Facebook platform, that feature, as far as your personal page, if I'm correct on this, it won't be as streamlined as it has been before. Now, posting to a like page or anything of that sort, no problem. But posting to your personal Facebook page, it's kind of almost like it's going to be a decline or a disregard of allowing that to occur. So just be prepared for that. That actually begins on August 1st. Some of you may have received emails for it and might not even know it. So that's just something to kind of think about and look at as to what's coming. Last Friday, I'm updating this more consistently than I normally would, because it is happening weekly. But the three-headed monsters are pretty much, it's their league to lose, or it's their championship to lose this year, from what I've personally observed with the Big Three League this year. Some people may be surprised at what I'm about to share, but it's going to be a tragic thing to hear. Trilogy will not be in the playoffs this year. They lost their most recent game to Ghost Ballers, which actually gave them their first victory. And Ghost Ballers is mathematically eliminated as well. So as of right now, Ball Hogs, Ghost Ballers, and Trilogy are out of the mix. The only teams that are kind of fighting, like Killer Threes, could possibly get in, but they'd have to win out in order for that to occur. Three-Headed Monsters and Power have locked their positions. Three's Company and Tri-State, basically they win their in, because it's going to be the top four teams who get into the playoffs. Going into the actual matches themselves, Three-Headed Monsters did beat Ball Hogs to remain unbeaten. Jamario Moon has become the new star. He's stepped in very productive with Rashard Lewis being out. Power 3 was able to get their win over Killer Threes. Catino Mobley and Corey Maggette, what else can you say? And Glenn Davis. I mean, those three guys have been kind of like the look of the team that no one really expected, and it's just been a good showing. Three's company has come to life a little bit. They are, like I said, they're 4-2. They're tied with Tri-State, who they beat on last Friday, and Tri-State fell to 4-2 due to that match. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Ghost Ballers did beat Trilogy, which gave them their first win, but it also knocked Trilogy out of the playoff hunt. Now, I had this article, but I did not personally place it on here, and I guess it could have been just a sign that I wasn't meant to place it, but I'll talk about it. But the JBA League is presenting their next line of clothing, which is going to be baby clothing. And it's kind of a coincidence that it's occurring since Lonzo's fiance, girlfriend, whatever, is expecting. And so that kind of triggered to, hey, let's make a baby line, which they'll be selling on their website. Not sure of the exact price. Like I said, I don't have the article itself in front of me at this time. But long story short, they're trying out new things, and it's helping them kind of get that platform progressing in the right direction. See, this week I did good. No negative JBA talk, which is always a good thing. So many of you may be surprised by this, and this may not be a surprise to others. But free agent, Dwayne Wade first and foremost is a free agent. So I guess I should give the free agency update to kind of explain what has occurred, and I'll tie it into this story. A couple players have went ahead and officially signed contracts, done press release, things like that. Carmelo officially signed with Atlanta, and then within that time period of him signing, he was released by Atlanta with the expectation of going to Houston. His demand or his request of going to Houston is that he's expecting or he would like to be a starter. Will he start for Houston? I don't see why not. Based on position, that'll kind of be in his favor, which I'm always gonna give you your credit where it's due. They did break down a lot of players as far as who could have some challenges coming up this upcoming season, based on rookies. Articles out there related to that. But Dwayne Wade, who did go to Miami, he is currently 36, is currently a free agent, and there's a possibility that he may play in China. Now, many of you may or may not know this, but he has a shoe. His shoe is a China-based shoe. So I'll read the story a little bit, and we'll talk about it. Free agent guard Dwayne Wade has been offered a 3-year, $25 million contract by the Zhejiang Golden Bulls, according to Chinese media reports. The deal, which is before taxes, would make Wade the highest paid player in China, slightly ahead of Andre Blatch, who plays for Zhejiang in the Chinese Basketball Association. It also would be one of the largest overseas deals ever. Josh Childress received $6 million after taxes from Greek club Olympiacos in 2008. Wade, who's 36, finished last season with the Miami Heat, the team he has played for a majority of his 15 seasons. The 12-time All-Star averaged 11.4 points in 67 games for the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Heat last season. He has averaged 22.5 per game in his career, but hasn't averaged at least 20 in a season since 2014-2015 with the Heat. According to the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, because the Heat are currently above the NBA salary cap, the most they can offer Wade next season is $5.3 million. Mid-level taxpayer exception. You're kind of tiptoeing into the veterans minimum because you're 36 in NBA. In NBA years, that's considered declining. Wade recently signed a lifetime pact with Chinese apparel company Li Ning. That was who I was, this shoe company. and was in China for a promotional tour. He said earlier this month that he would make a decision on his future once he returned to the United States from that tour. If he signs this deal, I would not be surprised. This is a story that is on a keep an eye on it, but don't give it. It's kind of like keep an eye on it, but don't give it a massive amount of attention, or don't add pressure. Is a good way to put it. And the story, like I said, this article was written as of the 24th. News can travel and change in a blink of an eye. But as of right now, he is not, signed or looked at the team. If he goes, he goes, but it's not like he's not in a position of having to go. And to add to that, since I am online looking at it, I'll go ahead and address it now. He is looking to make a decision as to whether he's going to play and where he would play. Like, that's still being said. And his comment he gave was in due time. And that was actually written today, a couple of hours ago. In due time, Wade said when asked if he has an update on whether he will continue playing in the NBA or overseas to retire, time will tell. And they kind of just go into more detail regarding the structure that could happen. So the 5.3 is the exception, and then there is the 2.4 million veteran minimum. So that's kind of where things stand as of right now. Sticking to basketball, and this is a parting shot, but it's kind of a transition, and there's no certainty. I would not be surprised if he signs to the shoe deal that I'll talk about later. But Kawhi Leonard and Jordan Brand have parted ways. The contract with them has ended. So Kawhi Leonard currently is a free agent in the shoe market. Jordan Brand let Leonard walk when his contract expired later this year. Extension talks between Leonard and Nike subsidiary stalled early this year after he turned down a 4-year, $22 million extension with Nike. Leonard, who is 27, won't be the only high-profile sneaker agent this year. You have Embiid, Andrew Wiggins with Minnesota, Gordon Hayward with Boston, DeMarcus Cousins with the Warriors, Isaiah Thomas with Denver, and Kelly Oubre with Washington. Embiid is a bigger name for the marketing standpoint. Leonard is the biggest on-court star of that bunch. He is a 2-time All-Star, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time All-Defensive First-Team selection, and was the 2000 final NBA Finals MVP, which they did win the championship that year. The problem with Leonard is his marketability. He's very quiet and a low-profile star who forced a move to get out of San Antonio, ending up with the Raptors. They get more information. Air Jordan's offer, which would have paid him $5.5 million a year, was nothing to sneeze at. Kurt Badenhausen reported in June 2017 that only 10 current or former players had shoe deals worth more, with basketball icons MJ, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Kobe Bryant topping the list. The deal would have put him on par with Paul George, who made $5.5 million Nike the previous year. This is a story, but it's not a story, and I'm going to explain why. Kawhi is a great player. Kawhi has a very strong upside that they are going to be thrilled about. But the tough part is, if you think of the NBA as a general person who knows basketball fan, you know Kawhi Leonard, you can see what he does. But as a person who really has never seen basketball, you're more likely to name the other star. Like, a person would name Steph Curry before they name Kawhi Leonard. Just something to think about, or something to kind of look at as to the comparison and the breakdown of where this kind of measures and put things into full perspective. Leonard not signing a deal or not signing the Nike or the Jordan Brand isn't as huge as it seems. If we are blindsided and not surprised, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Puma. And I know that's like a shoot, like a huge stab in the dark or shot in the dark. But if he did, he did. That's kind of like the nicest and cleanest way to put it. It's not gonna affect him brand wise, because his brand isn't very, very compelling or thrilling. And I know that's kind of like that's making it sound like I'm taking a shot at him, but I'm really not. I'm only just looking at it from the perspective of, if you really think of him as a player, he can play, but thinking of him as a talent and a factor on the team, he doesn't have a personality that fits the NBA as far as from the star perspective. And I'll explain it like this, and this will kind of bring it full circle. When you think of him being an all-star in the NBA, right? He was in an all-star game or two, I believe, but you didn't really hear about his stat line or his gameplay, because he really doesn't have like a swag to him as far as being an exciting athlete. He's a talented athlete, like, don't get me wrong, but exciting for the game. Like, if it was put in a position of saying, hey, let's let Kawhi participate in the dunk contest, I don't see him really breaking out a bag of tricks to do dunks. I could see Dwight Howard, even at his age or at his tenure in the league, doing a better job of it than Kawhi. That's just my take. Like I said, we're still early on in seeing Kawhi, and also everyone still kind of has their feelings towards his move and his decision, along with the fact that I won't say there wasn't much media type talk behind it, but it wasn't as much attention. The attention it drew wasn't the attention that the Spurs needed, especially with the Spurs being a quiet team. I know that's like way off from talking about the Jordan brand, but him leaving Jordan is just space for other players to kind of get their money. So go for the bag. This is a sport. This is somewhat stuff. This could be looked at as ass of the week, but it's not. And I'm going to explain what happened. So there's a sophomore in Rockville who plays in Montgomery County public schools. He plays basketball he played his freshman year at the school. Was averaging 15.2 points for Rockville. And they went 14-10. And the concern, he's 6'10", big guy, and is concerned about his age. His name is Jimmy Soronki, if I didn't say the name. Back in March, there was questions about his age. It ended in early July, and they found that there was insufficient evidence of his age because based on his birthday listed as June 11, 2001, they were assuming that it was inaccurate, but it actually turned out being accurate. They don't have enough footage to confirm whether it was inaccurate or accurate. The Deadspin story alleged Soronki may have been 20 at the start of his freshman year at Rockville last fall, not 16 as Soronki and his guardian Joe Boncor claim. He's from Nigeria. Like I say, he averaged 15.2. He took part in Maryland Summer League playing for Rockville. The investigation at the school and state level began in early March. Spokesman Derek Turner said MCPS received documentation at the time of Soronski's enrollment that indicated his birthday was in 2001, which would make him 16 when he started as a freshman. The birthday listed on images with Soronki's Nigerian passport and birth certificate provided to the Washington Post also was in 2001. Deadspin cited a blog post from 2016 listing Olujimi Soronke Abayomi as having a birthday of June 11th, 1997. That name was on the birth certificate and passport provided to the Post. I don't really think if a person, and this, I'm delayed on saying anything about this because this is one of those. The first couple of times that these stories broke, it was valid that the person was indeed overage and it got exposed. But this is somebody that could legitimately be their age. And as of right now, everything's good. So it's almost trying to reach for that story when in reality, if he's overage, it's going to be put out there on its own. And what makes this different and what makes this more ironic now is that we're in an era or in a stage where if we want to get information on a person, all you got to do is look it up online. Or all you have to do is somebody's going to be that person that has the information of saying, oh yeah, he was definitely overage. Like he should not be playing basketball. But we don't have any sufficient proof of that. So as of right now, it's kind of like a he said, she said. So he will be playing next year, which would mean he's part of the class of 2021 if he's a sophomore. We'll see when his senior year comes how his high school ranking turns out. But right now we're just kind of waiting, and that's kind of where we are with that story. So we're gonna, like I said, that was kind of like somewhat sports, somewhat stuff. Before I get into the stuff, because I want to get this out now, because by the time we reach our next sports podcast, there will have been a couple of games played and we can finally have a sports discussion, because I know sports has been kind of, sports stories have come, but sports stories hitting the waves haven't come, if that makes sense. Premier League is starting up in a couple weeks. The NFL, we're literally a few days away from preseason kickoff. A lot of people are not watching football. I will say, and this might surprise people, I'm not the biggest fan of what Dallas is doing, but I don't, and this isn't even a but. I'll put it as this: Jerry Jones needs to be accountable for what he said, point blank. And I feel like letting him off the hook as a league makes the NFL look bad. If you have or not, or the Jones family or whatever, like if you haven't been keeping up with that story, check it out. It's amazing what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. The pardon goes to him for an unfair basis due to the fact that Jerry Jones being removed from the NFL is going to be a tall order, number one. And number two, and most importantly, he has a large investment in the sport that the NFL can't afford to lose, which is unfair that that's being factored into how he's being treated for what he said and what he's done. But it still doesn't bottom line, it doesn't justify it. That's my main point. But anywho, that's, like I said, that's everything for sports. Stuff is going to be kind of simple, but these are stories that have all recently occurred. We're waiting, as far as I can tell, we're waiting for our next Apple keynote. There was a story about the MacBook, one of the MacBooks that recently came out, having a very large overclocking as far as heat. Apple did address this because the worst thing you want to have occur is that a person is using a laptop and it heats or burn, like it's being used to a point that it really shouldn't be, but it occurred. I mean, it happens. And the thing of it is, and I didn't even realize it until the story was brought to light, that we've hit i9 processors. You know, if you look at it, and I'm giving this as a tech talk, but this is also something to think about as a consumer, because we as buyers don't look at this, and stores get you because you're not thinking about it. Seeing a laptop with an inexpensive deal is great. But if you look at the specs, if you ever see the words Intel Celeron, run. Don't pace slowly, run. Do not get a computer with Intel Celeron. It's practically like using a Pentium 2 or Pentium 3. If you don't remember either of those, go back to when you were in school or go back to late 90s, early 2000s when we had Pentium 3 and Pentium 2 processors. Random tangent, but I wanted to talk about that anyway, before we continue. If any of you may or may not remember, and I believe it was about this time last year when this occurred, NBA Playgrounds came out for the Xbox One, and PlayStation 4, and I believe it was on PC as well. The first couple weeks, the game got a pretty good reception. The challenge behind the game itself, as with any game, is the replay value and getting people to really lock into it. Because I played it for a while, but I didn't stick with it. But there is a release that was supposed to happen back in the spring for NBA Playgrounds 2. Well, there was a blend of businesses, as we would like to call it, between Saber Games and Visual Concepts to create NBA 2K Playgrounds. 2K announced that they will publish the sequel to last year's old school arcade action hoops title created in the spirit of NBA Jam. It has been rebranded as NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 and will release in the fall for Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. While 2K has taken on publishing duties, the game is still developed by Saber Interactive and will still feature the classic 2-on-2 basketball experience. According to the press release, NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 is intended to complement the NBA 2K simulation franchise and to further expand 2K's footprint in the basketball video game space. Long story short, that's basically a way of them solidifying that they're the number one basketball game as they brand on every single game. The original NBA Playgrounds was a fantastic throwback to the glory days of arcade action sports, said Greg Thomas, president of Visual Concepts. The new NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 will step up its energy and attitude big time, with a bit of added NBA 2K flair, giving fans of both franchises an exciting new way to game with friends around the world. No one is more committed to bringing fans a great basketball experience than 2K. We can't wait to share more on how we're teaming up to make NBA 2K Playgrounds 2's incredible arcade action bigger and better than ever for players. And this was stated by Saber CEO Matt Karch. The game was originally supposed to be released on May 22nd, but was pulled the day before release, and customers who pre-ordered did receive a refund. Saber and 2K was in the works, and things became serious just before the launch. 2K added a more arcade basketball project to its portfolio, and it'll be interesting to see how or if it works in tandem with the simulation-based NBA 2K franchise. Now, here's my $1 million question that I'm going to talk about with this that no one's going to mention because it's not something we're really looking at yet. As we all know, or as any of you who are in the gaming community are aware of with NBA 2K, the 2K League is kind of on its heels of finishing up. If NBA 2K is smart, and since they're working with NBA Playgrounds, it would be very helpful if they implement it as far as possibly making it a 2K league or a league, like a sports league where you can get some online games and get tournaments going for that. Because even to this day, if you had the venues or if you had the products to do it, an NBA Jam tournament is endless excitement, especially when it comes to it being competitive. The only tough part about arcade systems, and anyone who's listening can help me correlate or get a better understanding, is that if you look at games being played on consoles or PC, you can capture those games. There really isn't, at least from my personal perspective, a way of being able to capture an arcade game being played other than having a camera over someone's shoulder and doing an IRL stream. And that could work too, but it's just something that you would be looking at as a different avenue. So there's that side of it. And also, I'll say this and then we'll go into our next topic. NBA could take a page from Tekken. Well, excuse me, not Tekken, from Street Fighter. When they do their next, because right now, like I said, NBA 2K League is finishing up playoffs. When they get to the championship game, they can show a preview of NBA 2K Playgrounds 2. And that could kind of give people a little teaser, give them a release date, give you more information to kind of be prepared for once the game, pre-orders are out, or demo, if it's a demo and all that type of stuff. That's just my input. Like I said, I'm a podcaster in the world, just trying to get a simpler way of reaching the masses. Because a lot of times it's not as simple as, okay, let's just flip a switch and everything will work out. It's really not. And I think sometimes we forget that. But anywho, Tesla had a surfboard. Now, anyone who knows Tesla's known for having very high-end hybrid cars. As far as most of them with gas is electronic, if I'm not mistaken. I personally never drove a Tesla. I know in my neighborhood, at one of the gas stations, they do have the option for you to charge your car up and things of that nature. Well, Tesla offered a surfboard. Surfboard is in the price range that I would have never expected, which was $1,500. Now, the surfboards have sold out, but however, they've made it to eBay. Elon Musk has come up with some interesting merchandise to promote his companies over the years. He recently sold Boring Company hats and a branded flamethrower. They released a new product, which was a $1,500 surfboard. Tesla already sells quite a bit of merchandise, including hats, shirts, a kid-sized rideable car, and briefly, the surfboard. Electric spotted this new offering when it went online last night, which was designed by Tesla's design studio in collaboration with Lost Surfboards and Mayhem Biolos. The product description says that the surfboard shares a finish with the company cars and that it sports a top that has been reinforced with carbon fiber. The description also says the company's Model S, X, and 3 can comfortably accommodate this surfboard on either the inside or outside of the vehicle. The top and bottom of the surfboard also features the company logos. They've already sold out, but they have made their way to eBay. The product was only available in limited quantities. 200 in all were made to order. Shipping was expected to take 2 to 10 weeks from now, and all have since sold out. However, if you missed out, a handful of the orders have made their way to eBay, but you'll have to pay anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 for one of them. Tesla also isn't the only company to release such lifestyle accessories. Mini did release a surfboard of its own a couple of years ago. All right, tech random purchases, new release 101. Product comes out. It's been out. People buy it. It sells out. Going to other places to buy this same product and paying more than what it costs just to say I have it is not worth it. Nintendo, the people who had the original Nintendo did this. People who had the Super Nintendo did this when it the NES Mini, the NES Mini, the Super Nintendo Mini, Each of the consoles that have come out, because I can remember various consoles when they drop, the people wanted to get the first wave of the console. They sell out. The console itself might be $300. You go online on eBay, they're selling it for $1,000. This surfboard is $1,500. Why would I pay $5,000 to get a Tesla surfboard when the original price is over three times less that amount? Like, just mathematically put that into your head. Now, people are doing it. Granted, I'm not knocking your hustle. If you got it, do you. I just, it's things that I can wait for. That's even, with just general everyday tech. If GoPros, God forbid, matter of fact, I won't even use GoPro. When Apple initially brought the AirPods out, they were $160 or $150, whatever. There is no point of you running to a store spending $200, almost $300 for a pair of AirPods because it's a limited quantity that first drop. And as with anything, now I know it's a surfboard, it's a little different, but let the bad batch go out first and then wait. I know in surfboard, like I said, again, surfboard is a little different, but a surfboard, unless I'm going to be hitting the waves in the next 10 minutes, it's not that serious. I'll be okay. This could have been, I don't know how to, like, sometimes stories when I find them, it's a story that hits and I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and share it because it's story and it's something that happened. This had potential to be Ass of the Week. It's not, but I'm going to talk about it and we're going to just make this a conversation. So the National Transportation Safety Board is upset. And I'm going to say it just like that since Drake did the song, I'm upset. Drake has a song that he released on Scorpion called In My Feelings. And the song comes up and it starts out, Key, do you love me? Are you riding? Now, there are two different things with this song. There are those who are just doing the dance in general. I'm okay with that. There are the idiots who are in cars, who are putting their lives at risk, who are putting other people's lives at risk, who have locked themselves out of cars, who are leaving cars like in drive or neutral, getting hit by the cars, claiming that it wasn't intentional. Like, there are a lot of injuries that have happened from this. And the National Transportation Safety Board is asking fans to not do the In My Feelings challenge. On top of that, drivers should definitely not film said challengers, as that's equally stupid and in violation of pretty much all the distracted driving laws. So I'm going to read this a little bit, but before I read it, I want to share something just to kind of put it in perspective. If you get caught doing this, can you, like, what type of a sentencing or what would come with doing this is what I'm trying to find out. I'm curious, but I'm also like, I wouldn't even want to put myself in a position to experience that to find out. Cause it's just like, what's your reason to be getting out of a car to walk and leave it? Like I said, I've seen so many videos of it where it's like, all right, it's cool. I've seen like Mamaw, the older generation doing it. And I'm like, no, just stop. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting 15 minutes of fame, but there's also way more stable and simple things to do than to get Instagram or YouTube or Facebook famous. Just going to leave it at that. NTSB continues on in saying, driver distraction features prominently in this viral challenge, but the more obvious risk is the poor decision to hop out of a moving vehicle to dance. Although bad decision making is not on our list of poor driver behaviors, we have seen a variety of crashes attributable to making poor choices. And then you get videos of people who are getting out of the car trying to do this, and they look stupid. This all started from Shiggy, who initially did this, and the video popped up on social media, causing various people to jump out of moving cars and falling on their faces. It's just how far you go doing this, and they're referring to the example that I just referred to. One particularly clueless individual planned to jump out of a car, dance, and then hop on the hood of another moving car. However, he slipped on a wet spot on the pavement and got hit by the car instead, luckily suffering only bruises and scratches. And what was ironic was when he did the video, he's like, well, I really didn't mean to do that. The car was supposed to come and I was going to jump, but I slipped. And it's like, yeah, we understand that, but that's still not something you can sit there and practice, get in one take, whatever. It's just dumb and unnecessary. There are much, like I said, I'm emphasizing this. There are much easier ways to get attention on the internet. You don't need to go that route. That's just my take, my 2 cents on it. There's really not much else I'm gonna say regarding the story, other than don't do the challenge if you don't have to. Bottom line, you shouldn't be doing it at all because it's kind of stupid and it's pretty irrelevant. And that's just kind of the nicest way I can put it. Before we get to our asses of the week, I did share this on the previous show. I'll share it again. And I guess I can kind of update now because stuff has kind of come full circle. So I'll make some music announcements, and some people may be upset, and I'm not here to make people upset. I'm just here to tell it like it is. So I have been a faithful, loyal Apple Music member for about 1.5 years, if not longer. I've posted this on my Instagram, which went to all other social platforms, but I'm sharing this on my show today. And I'm going to go into this more during podcast every day in August. I will no longer be using Apple Music. I have currently done a 3-month trial with Spotify. I've only been using the program practically a week, I guess you can say, because I think Wednesday of last week was when I officially scratched off the trial, and was able to go ahead and start using Spotify. Spotify introduces you to more artists. Okay? There are a lot of little things that I like that I won't tell now, because if I do, it'll defeat the purpose of doing the show in August. But I will just simply say I feel like I'm going to get more out of Spotify than I got out of Apple Music. I love Apple Music. Apple Music was my life. Apple Music, anyone who knows me that follows my personal page at Brights82 will tell you I posted so many screenshots of songs that I've listened to, stations I've played, etc., etc. And I love them, and I've rocked with them, and it's been all well and good. That being said, change never hurts, and I think this is change that, me being a music listener like I am, I want to integrate some new music listens, plus some music stuff that I've been kind of fickling around with that makes it more the worthwhile. As far as the music session this week, there really weren't any new albums that I've listened to, and that's okay, it happens. But as far as I'm aware, there haven't been any, no one said, hey, this new album dropped. So I really haven't taken on any new music. I was able to find new releases a little easier on Spotify. Like I said, I'm kind of teasing things here and there, but I'm going to really have a good Spotify discussion. And like I said, it's only been a couple weeks. So I'll have the immediate shock factor, and more than likely by year review, I'll have a more in-depth discussion. But I will say this. If you are on Spotify, and this will kind of be a quiet plug, but it's a good thing. It's the summertime. You're probably going to find playlists. If you have them already, great. If you're looking for some playlists to kind of set and play and not have to worry with changing a whole lot of music, there's a playlist that I did a collab with Ashley, who I was on. I co-host, well, not co-host, but I was invited to their show with her and Jazz, and I did a collaborated playlist of what you call backyard playlists. So it's basically the music that you'd hear at any party, at any cookout or barbecue. Have to emphasize which is which because some people don't know the difference. We're not going to get into that today. But I will tell you that there's a pretty good liking of listening that you could the playlists are made where you can just play it and let it go. So the first one has been done. Part 1 was finished. We're working on part 2 now. Part 2, I could see being done by the end of this week. It's 100 tracks on part 1. There will be 100 on part 2. And I just wanted to give that a little bit of attention. And that's kind of been my music session. Like, I've been messing with that and learning some music and also getting those new finds and talking to different, doing more research and talking more openly about music and not just, okay, let me go to the 80s R&B. Let me play Reby Jackson. Let me play Jackson 5. Let me play Janet. Let me play Otis Ray. Like, play the stuff that I know. Cool. I've listened to that music. I want to break my shell a little bit and try something new and give something different a new spin. There we go. It took me like 20 years to get that point across. But yeah, I just want to give some new listens because we're in that era where music is changing and evolving. And you don't have to get so trapped or aggressive about, well, I'm only hearing the mumble rappers and the lulz. You have other artists that actually make good music. You just have to know how to find them at the right point. So I just want to share that. That's, I guess you can call that the music / announcement. As I mentioned, once August gets here, and I will be utilizing I'm looking at my calendar like 2 days, but I also am going to be writing out what topics have been talked about or will be talked about as we go through the month of August. And transitions have been coming right and left for that. But anywho, our asses of the week. One is fun. I mean, one is different, and the other one is what the hell. Literally, like, what the hell. The first one is a woman. Her name is Jacqueline Souza. She stabbed her fiance to death due to the wedding list. Colorado Springs woman is accused of stabbing her fiance to death following an argument over a possible wedding guest. The Gazette reports 31-year-old Jacqueline Souza was arrested on suspicion of second-degree murder. Suspicion of second-degree murder Saturday in the death of 33-year-old Brandon Watkins. According to court documents, Souza called 911 and police found Watkins unresponsive and bloody. A steak knife was found near his body. Souza told police they began fighting because Watkins wanted to invite a woman to the wedding whom she believed to be his ex-lover. Souza gave police different accounts of what happened, first telling them that she found Watkins with a knife in his chest and the door was open. She later told authorities that Watkins became violent and he eventually fell on the knife during a struggle. Watkins' sister, Erica, created a GoFundMe to raise money for his funeral and wrote that he was victim to a senseless murder in his own crime. Those close to him will understand when we say he was one of a kind. He was the one of a kind combination of stone cold stunner and animal lover, bench press crusher, and most loving brother. Army vet with no time for complaints and a real life game changer. Souza posted a $50,000 bail and was released Tuesday. A phone number listed for Souza has been disconnected. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. So you stabbed him to death, but you claimed it or presented it as it got aggressive and you turn to stabbing him, but the story also came in of you presented as, oh, he stabbed himself and I happened to come in and he was just there stabbed. Did you not think that they were not going to know you did this? And to add to this, I'm not going to say add insult to injury, but to add to this, your reasoning in doing this was because of who he invited. If you had an issue with who he invited, then don't marry him. You didn't have to marry him. Not marrying him would have been much easier and would have been less stressful than, okay, I'm going to stab him to death and now I got to go to jail. Like, she got out on bail, but I mean, if they find her guilty of this, she's going to get a pretty jacked up sentence. I mean, granted, we're in Colorado, but I don't know. I mean, it should not have gone to this point. And this is something I'm going to say, sidebarring this, and it's something that was addressed before in another article. If it's not meant to be or y'all ain't going to work, murdering someone is not going to solve the situation. It does not do any help or does not generate any help to the occurrence. It just doesn't. And people don't understand that. And I really just believe people don't care to understand that, which is fine. But it's no benefit in doing that. Like, it was really, really, truly unnecessary. Like, that's how I'm looking at it with a blind eye to the situation. Like I said, I'm not taking any sides on what happened. However, killing someone, that was the extent you had to go to get what did you get out of that? So, I'm not gonna say we'll see what happens out of this case, but I'm just gonna say they need to throw the book at her. Like, she needs to get time, but of course, I'm not in that position to make that call to address that. All right, that was very nasty. Our second ass of the week, like I said, it's a weird one. It's different, but it's like a story that I found on TechCrunch. So I'm not really gonna place the direction of anything as of yet, but when we read the story, we'll kind of see who was in the wrong and what was done wrong here or whatever. Inmates in Idaho were able to hack tablets that are given to the prison. Like, they're given by the prison. They were able to hack them to generate $225,000 in credits. Inmates in Idaho successfully hacked the software of the prison issued tablets to issue themselves nearly $250,000 in credits on the devices that are often one of their only connections to the outside world. The tablets, made by prominent prison vendor JPay, give inmates the ability to use email, listen to music, and transfer money among other basic computing functions, but charge fees for some services. The Associated Press reports that Idaho prison officials discovered 364 inmates leveraging a software vulnerability to increase their JPay account balances. In Idaho, the devices are the result of a partnership between JPay and CenturyLink. The latter company confirmed the software vulnerability but declined to offer further details beyond stating that it had since been resolved. Of the 364 inmates exploiting JPay, 50 inmates were able to issue themselves credits of more than $1,000. One inmate was able to use a software flaw to self-issue a credit of almost $10,000. The company has recovered about a quarter of the total of around $225,000 so far and has suspended some functions for inmates until they reimburse the stolen credits. This conduct was intentional, not accidental. It required a knowledge of the JPay system and multiple actions by every inmate who exploited the system's vulnerability to improperly credit their account. The individuals exploiting the JPay system are incarcerated at a handful of Idaho prisons, including Idaho State Correctional Institution, Idaho State Correctional Center, South Idaho Correctional Institution, Orofino, and a private correctional alternative placement plan building. I almost said correct. I don't know where, how that came into my head, but it just popped up out of nowhere. On its website, JPay describes itself as a highly trusted name in corrections because we offer a fast and secure method of sending money, which seems up for debate given the recent turn of events. The company has a presence in prisons across 35 states. So the ass in this is, I don't even know where to begin. Because you could put this on JPay. You could put this on CenturyLink. You could also put this on the inmates. Or even better, put it on the correctional institutions, because and this is tech 101. If a program of this magnitude is being used, people are going to find loopholes. And I'm saying this as just general everyday people. When people feel like they're in a stupid position to be known to do the bare minimum, they're going to do everything they can to get whatever they need to get done. And this is no exception. Like, you're in a facility and you're giving me an option to use a tablet and it's open free roam, and I'm able to access this product or this activity. You think I'm not going to jump on that and take advantage? Like, who wouldn't take advantage of that? And JPay, which I'm going to look up now, is a secure technologies company, which is a way for you to, what you do is you find the inmate based on the state that they're in and then their inmate ID. And you can utilize the services through that when you can do transfers and things of that sort. But now that I'm looking at the site and like I said, I haven't really gone in depth with the site. But if it has that ability, JPay is holding that L. JPay should be ass of the week for this one. I'll say this, and this is kind of my closing thought. This has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with JPay to inmates. The inmates were just sent because now they could possibly get jacked up sentences because of this. Because now if it lands into possibly being a federal offense, which that's not really being said here, but if it could, then that makes it look kind of bad. And I mean, you really didn't need what you got, but now you got it. Now what? But I'm gonna share this, and this is just gonna kind of be my little personal closing and my walk away thought to share with you all. We don't think about this often because it's not really relevant to us in a sense, but it's important to look at. Our energy personally can impact the energy of others or the energies of others. And I know when you hear those terms, anytime somebody talks about energy, it's like, oh my God, here we go with this energy shit. What energy will I or won't I be dealing with? And I'm glad you asked. Energies and vibes and connections are something we encounter and deal with in our daily lives. If you walk around with a nasty attitude, you can't be mad at people being nasty with you. If you are upset about something that went on personally in your life and you carry it towards everyone that's around you, and you're wondering why after that has occurred, why you're in a rut or hitting a brick wall personally over things that you normally wouldn't, you need to assess what is or isn't happening. And I share all of that just to say, every once in a while, we should do a self-assessment. Self-assessments are not like this long-winded test. It's not no personality test. It's not anything that you got to go to friends and say, hey, what do you think about me? A self-assessment is just you really looking at you. And when I say looking at you or getting to feel out who you are, it's assessing yourself across the board. Like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What could I do better? what effort am I giving towards what's out there for me? Like if there's an opportunity that lands in my lap, am I valuing that opportunity coming? Am I complaining or finding every way that the opportunity shouldn't be mine? Like what specifically are you doing with the opportunity or with the moments that come in or through your life? And if you're not doing the right things with those opportunities, then that means you need to evaluate your assessment. And I mean, you need to evaluate yourself and look at why you're doing, like, why are you pushing good things away? Why are you fucking up situations that are coming on your path? Why are you bringing folks around that aren't bringing your energy up, but declining you mentally? Why are you listening to depressing music all the time? Why are you playing video games that aren't bringing out the best energy out of you? Why do you write angrily more than positively? Like those things. And I'm saying this to say that, I'm saying all that to say this, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to shut up. No one's sitting here saying you have to have a positive, go-lucky attitude all the time. I don't. There are a lot of times that I am Brian, the true shutdown. I don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone. Let me be great. And then there are times that I really try to get other people to see the bright side of what has or hasn't occurred, even if they're not willing to see it. Because if you don't see it now, you may never see it again. And that's kind of my challenge in my presentation that I'm sharing and saying all of this is don't fight what's coming before it even comes. Because if you do, then it may never come again. So that's what I have for that. I hope everyone has enjoyed what I've shared, what I'm talking about with you all. Y'all know I'm always here to just kind of give you some knowledge, some discussion. But I just wanted to kind of dive into this a little bit and just talk about what's been going on in the sports world. Next week, we will be hopping into some sports, some NFL. There will be some more, different things that'll happen with baseball. I might jump into that. Most importantly, I will be doing podcasts every day in August. Still trying to figure that out with my new schedule. I'm working nights, whoop whoop. So looking to see how that's going to come up. I will warn you now, there could be some very surprising podcasts after dark coming. I'll just leave it at that. But with all that, I just bid you all a farewell. And until next time, this is The Past signing out. I am BT, your host. If you are looking to get into podcasting, these episodes are uploaded to Spreaker.com. Under Brate Podcast, if you want to kind of follow me and see my journey of how fun and how chaotic podcasting has become. The microphone I'm using is the Blue Yeti. Intros and outros, music thanks to Grimecraft, and most of all, subscribe. We are on Spotify as well. So that's what I got. Much love, much positivity, and much blessings. As always, take care. BT signing out. The Past signing out. Take it easy. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to get any information specifically based on the shows, you can go to Spreaker.com/Brate Podcast or go to www.pastpodcast.com. On both of those options, you do have the information related to what topics were talked about, the timestamps for the episode, as well as the specific links related to that specific story. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, The Past signing out. でもそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は進化するよもっともっとそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は進化するよもっと